All right, welcome back to It's Time Picks. I am Drake. This is Joey, and last week was quite possibly our worst card ever, like ever. That was a very difficult card, and I know we were not the only ones to struggle. A lot of Tapology voters out there struggled as well. So it was a very difficult card, very random card. Lots of crazy shit happened. This week we have UFC 286. Edwards and Usman go back at it for the trilogy fight. And I'm actually really excited for this card. There's a lot of really good fights on here. Some debuts. The main card looks really good. Joey, what do you think?
I'm definitely excited for this card because once I didn't even watch the full card last week, but I was texting you throughout, and we were both saying how absolutely tremendous, horrible, terrible that entire card was when it comes to picks. And I'm definitely looking to rebound after this on this week's card easily.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's get right into it. First fight up, we got Juliana Miller and Veronica Hardy, formerly Macedo. And I think this is a very difficult fight for Hardy. I do not think she will have the chops for this at all. Miller, man, she's only got 4 fights. But damn, she has looked good. She is vicious. She applies a lot of pressure. She can strike. She can grapple. She can do it all. So for me, this is we say this a lot. It's a pretty easy fight, but we've seen those easy fights fall apart really quick. But I'm on Miller. I like her to come out and apply more pressure than Hardy can handle and put her away early.
I'm also on Miller. I've seen different websites. I've seen on UFC and I've seen on Tapology. I think Tapology has her 3-1. Then I've seen UFC have her on 4-1. So I don't ideally know which one's actually which, but yeah, I'm on Miller. Yes, she has the less fights. Hardy does have the overall, you can say, experience in the fights, but yes, Hardy will be the better striker out of the two. And she hits harder. She's a bit faster with her combinations, but her overall takedown defense is absolutely terrible. She let Beck Malecki absolutely steamroller.
I know.
I think, I know Miller at 9,400, it's a bit high, but I think I know in her one fight, I know she was the dog in that fight. That's why she ended up winning. And then she got a late finish in round three. At 94, I think she would need an early finish or a lot of takedowns, control, then hopefully another, finish late. I'm gonna work around, see if I can get her in my line because one thing I can say is like hopefully the streak of me not picking or picking the first fight actually works for me because I can usually never get that method right. But I'm definitely on Miller to win.
All right, both of us going with Juliana Miller. Next up, we got Jay Herbert and Ludovic Klein. And you and I talked about this one a little bit. You know where I stand, but let's see where you stand, man.
This is one of the fights, past couple days I was torn on. Since coming up to 55, Klein is 2-0. Klein was my big underdog that, helped me win some ching ching back during that time. I wish he was a dog, but he's not. I like picking him at dog money. Klein is the more well-rounded, but I do give it to Herbert. It seems like when it comes to these UK cards, Herbert never really gets a cakewalk type of test. As long as it stays standing, I think it could be anyone's fight. Herbert does have the size, the length. He does have power. He damn near knocked out Taporia. And that was the closest anybody's ever gotten close to beating Taporia. My slight lean is on Klein. And I'm not saying to be biased, but I just think, the more well-roundedness and the way Herbert fights, he show up early, look good, but he just finds the way to lose. I hate that it comes off so wrong, but at the same time, you back to his fights, he finds ways to lose.
That's fair. I mean, his one UFC fight to another Southpaw, he did lose. He got knocked out by Trinaldo, so that's definitely part of it as well. I'm gonna go the opposite way. I like Herbert in this fight. The size difference for me is just huge. He's got a 5 inch reach advantage and plenty on height. So I mean, he's got a lot to offer on the feet. Ludovic Klein, he's a dangerous striker. He's got some really nasty kicks, but I just worry about him getting inside enough to land something flush. Um, so and Herbert, like you said, you brought up the Tapuria thing. He definitely stunned him, and you almost had him finished in that fight.
And I actually picked
Um,
Herbert that fight.
Yeah. Yeah, no kidding. I had Tapuria though. The last time Ludovic Klein faced someone tall, it was Michael Trezano. He's 5'11", but his reach was only 71. He lost to him. Devontae Smith was 5'9".
Beat
So
Devontae.
he hasn't fought anybody of this size, and I just worry that the power that Herbert can put out from range is really gonna stun him. If you told me that Klein was gonna come out and try to wrestle the whole
It
time,
wouldn't
I'd be
shock
all
me.
I'd be all over Klein, but we haven't really seen him do that. He's been primarily a striker, so I'm going with Herbert. He's
I do
definitely
like
a
the
lot
over
of
one and a
bomb,
half in
so
this fight.
that could be a
Because
good
I think
play.
what's going to happen, I think Klein can try to use the leg kick, slow down the overall movement of Herbert. Try to get him against the cage, use some clinch work. Because Herbert is usually live early in round one. The Kyle Nelson fight, he was more precise, he was being more patient. But I think you know what's going to happen. If Herbert's going to win, he's going to have to catch him clean. Does Klein get hit at times? Sometimes, depending on his fight style. Now he's up a weight. You know, he's gonna go against some taller fighters, and Herbert is a tall fighter for the weight. Um, like I said, I like the over one and a half. And if Klein's gonna mix in takedowns, he'll win a decision. But if you're telling me he's gonna strike for 15, I think this could be Herbert's fight to win.
It would be, and I think that Herbert, to avoid those, he's going to put him up in the clinch like he did with Kyle Nelson, where he controlled 6 minutes in
Yep.
the fight. So that could definitely be a big piece of it too, and that's part of why Herbert has low volume. His volume comes from a lot of range and then clinch work. So we are split on that pick. I'm going with Herbert, and you're going with Klein. Next up, we got Joanne Wood and Luana Carolina, and I told you how I felt about this fight, so I'm going to take this one first because what I pointed out to you, I'm not sure you had actually looked at it yet, but if you look at Wood's resume, and I brought this up to you, her last three losses: Lauren Murphy, she just challenged for the title; Talia Santos, she just challenged for the title; and Alexa Grasso, she won the title. So the belt is hers. So her last three fights were all against challengers, and now the current champ. Um, that says a lot. Those are three really, really good losses, losses. And she's got a ton of volume. Her last two losses, she got submitted. Luana Carolina is not a threat on the mat. This is going to be a striking match, and I fully expect Wood to double up her volume on Carolina, and I'm all Wood. So that's
I
where I'm
do
at.
like, yeah, my pick is Wood. Um, yeah, if Carolina's gonna win, I think she's gonna have to like she gave Molly Meatball a nice little challenge during that first fight. Then Molly landed that Hail Mary spin, which the fight was ideally close, but I still had Molly up. Um, but yeah, Wood's better everywhere. Like I'm not gonna expect Carolina to get a damn sub. There's a Is it possible she's working on her game? Yes, of course. But at the same time, Wood is the way better fighter. And as you said, she only been losing to people that's fought for the title. And she fought Maya, which I don't think she should have took that fight because she was a title. She could have been patient and got a title fight. But yeah, I'm on Wood. I do like your play on it. Like I'm tempting on it because if it stays standing, I think Wood could actually, as you said, double the volume and even in decision of how much she throws. And then maybe she'll get a couple time takedowns. Who knows? But Wood could be sneaky at 86. But yeah, I would say it's Wood or pass for me. I don't think Carolina. The only way she does is either Wood gets lazy and maybe she gets caught, but I don't see it happening. But yeah, I'm all over Wood.
All right, both of us going with Joanne Wood. And next up, we have Jake Hadley and Malcolm Gordon. I'll let you take this one first.
This is where I told you my head over heart. I think my head will say Hadley will win this fight. Hadley is the better boxer. He has good wrestling, and he has his own type of just. I just think Hadley's a dick, and I think he's slightly overrated. I'm not saying he's trash because I don't think he's trash, but he's slightly overrated. He got controlled by Nazameno, which Nazameno I think is decent. One thing I do give Gordon, he's the type of person he will fight for your money. I give him credit for that. He damn near finished Makayev in his last fight. He had that submission. I
I
Another
remember
20
that.
seconds. Another 20 seconds, that fight's over. But my heart's saying Gordon, but I think if you're playing multiple lines in GPP, I think Gordon could potentially catch a sub if Hadley is being lazy. As I say, I think Hadley's overrated. But I don't know if I want to go my head or heart. I'll probably go with my head. I'll say Hadley, but Gordon is not a bad. Depends on how many lines you're playing. I'd dart throw him at 69. He's because think about it. If he catches him early, which I think he could, Gordon by sub at any point, he's gonna pay off that price. Like he's a decent striker in his own right, but you never know how his chin's gonna hold. But Hadley is the more talented fighter on paper. So unfortunately, I'll probably have to go Hadley. But and for tournaments like I always play, Gordon is a dog I have in my overall fighter pool. But yeah, it picks Hadley.
Yep, I agree. That submission that he almost had Makayev in was more a mistake on Makayev's part. So I'm not going to read too much into that. He hasn't really done a whole lot. Gordon really hasn't done a whole lot. He beat Francisco Figueiredo, who's not in the UFC anymore, and he beat Bondar, and I don't think he's in the UFC anymore.
I don't think so either.
Gordon just, I mean, he's like a really, really low level fighter. I'm not ultra impressed with him. Hadley, I still worry about because of that last fight. Well, his 2 fights ago with Nascimento, I mean, he laid out the game plan how to beat Hadley, and that's just to lay on top of him. You'd think that Hadley learned from that. We'll see. He did come out and smack Candelario. So my pick is Hadley. I think he eventually, or sometime probably late for first round, he just snatches the neck and he doesn't let go.
At 9,300.
So, and he'll need that, to probably hit value. If it goes into the second and third round, I'd worry about it a little bit. I don't really know how much his chin has been tested.
I don't know. But
He's never been finished, but it doesn't really mean that his chin hasn't been tested or anything. It looks like almost all of his fights are grappling matches. So if Gordon lands something flush, I could see him wobbling him and maybe finishing him that way, but it's not where I'd put my money. So
and both of us with 7 out of his 9 wins are by finish for Hadley.
Yeah. So both of us going with Jake Hadley. Next up, we have the debuting Christian Duncan.
Leroy Duncan.
Yeah. And Dusko Todorovic. Dusko's he's an interesting fighter. You can't really put too much stock into him because he's got like the worst chin in the world. It's like Jordan Wright level chin, and so it makes things really difficult. He's got a really good stand-up game. He just doesn't have a chin. But Christian Duncan, man, he's kind of scary. We said this last week about what's his name that screwed us over, Dumas, and he got completely shelled. This is a completely different type of fighter. Christian Duncan is really, really put together. He's very well-rounded. He has a super solid game, and he's got a good fight IQ. Todorovic does not have a really high fight IQ. He tends to put himself in really vulnerable situations, and I think that happens in this one. And I fully believe that Duncan, all he has to do is press forward, get him against the cage, and he will knock Todorovic out. So that's where I'm at.
I hate to say it because I'm going against my international brother, but I will be on Leroy Duncan. I was talking to somebody, and he said if you look how he bounces around on his feet, he kind of looks like a 85er gun. The way he bounces on his feet, uses his combinations real well. I guess Duco is slightly more rounded. He has, wrestling of his own. He does have some BJJ on paper, but I hate how he fights like a tall fighter, hands down, chin always leaving up. If you're gonna do it against Duncan, I have a feeling that he could absolutely put his lights out early.
Yeah, like
$8,700's not bad.
Joe did,
huh?
Cheaty, just like Joe Kwani did.
Oh, that was vicious.
Yeah, that was ugly. Yeah, so not much to say about that one. Both of us going with Duncan. Next up, this is probably the second fight that I had the most trouble with Lerone Murphy and Gabriel Santos. This fight is super, super close. It's a lot closer than a lot of people believe. And
I hope you go first.
I'm
so torn on it.
All right, I'll go. So I'm going Murphy, and here's why I went with him. I need to pull something up real quick, make sure I say this correctly. How did I write it? So one thing is I did not like that Santos is making a short notice debut. That one, that does bother me, especially against somebody of Murphy's caliber, because he's an extremely good fighter. I noted for myself that Murphy has had problems getting taken down. He just does not have very good takedown defense, but he has excellent and elite scrambling. He knows how to avoid situations on the mat. He knows how to get himself back up. He knows how to reverse. So I went uh I went Murphy for that reason, his ability to get up and avoid getting submitted. Santos does have solid striking, but a lot of it is kind of like looping hooks and things of that nature. And Murphy's going to just counter him straight down the middle. So if Santos had a full fight camp, I might be inclined to go with Santos a little more. But with Murphy getting a full camp and having both tools to kind of counter Santos's game, I'm going Murphy.
I think this fight has the potential to be fight of the night. Um, as you said, if Santos had a more camp, it could have been more torn. Santos, as you said, he throws wild, loopy shots, but he does have to pretty much open up for his takedowns, which he does have good takedowns. And we've seen Murphy get taken down by Eric
Everyone.
Romani. Um, I remember I was picky on the 8,300 fight last week, and that was Carlton Harris. And I didn't know Harris scored that much.
Yeah, he crushed it.
And I don't think Murphy has that same ceiling unless he gets a knockout, because that's the only
Yep.
thing he can do. He's going to throw strikes. And
But the only way you play Murphy is if it's a first round knockout. And that's what you think he's going to get, because otherwise he's not paying off.
I don't think he gets that first round knockout. Um, you know what? I'm going Santos because look, he's more well rounded. And look, I thought maybe they'd give Murphy an actual, maybe a lesser tier opponent. Santos is undefeated too. He's fought some decent guys. Is it Murphy caliber? No, but he's fought some decent guys. And Santos early, if I'm him, you bull rush the shit out of him. Touch the glove and just go bull rush him. Just like Makwan did. He took him down, take down city, take down city, take down city.
Yeah,
Blew his,
until he ate a knee going for one of those takedowns.
yeah, and then second round he ate a knee and then he went absolutely to sleep. I think Santos is more talented than Makwan, well roundedness wise, but because
Yes.
I'll compare that to another stream. But ideally, I'm curious about the ownership because maybe Santos will be a lot less owned, but he is the more well rounded guy out of Murphy. But
He should
let's
be.
take the shot.
On Tapology, 86% of people are going with Murphy, 14% with Santos. So I mean, there's definitely some disparity there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take some leverage. I'm not even doing it for the leverage. I think Santos is a live guy that does have. I think he'll have success in the UFC. And if you're telling me he gets by Murphy his first fight, good Christ.
Like
Be
I
a
said, the
dog
only
for
thing that
dog.
worries me is his lack of a full camp
Yeah.
and, well, Murphy's ability to scramble on the mat.
Yep.
Because if this stays on the feet, this is Murphy's match to lose. And if
And
he's
there's
able
gonna
to
be
get up, then it's I mean,
yeah, if
it's
it's a
gonna be
pure that's what I'm scared of. If Murphy gets stopped the first one, I say three takedowns. Let's see how he stops. I think maybe he'll get taken down once per se. Let's say if he goes 1 for 3 and stops him. And if he stops the rest of the takedowns, I think Murphy's gonna piece him up. He's gonna
yep.
let his power go, and it's probably gonna be like one of them step in TKOs eventually. But like I said, I think Santos does have the game plan to work. Okay, maybe if I just grapple and hold him, you can win maybe a decision, maybe a late sub if Murphy gets lazy. But yeah, I'm gonna go Santos, and hopefully when it comes to the GPPs, I'll get lower ownership on Santos.
It's definitely not a bad play. Santos does have a bright future in the UFC, and Murphy hasn't fought in 2 years, so I mean that always plays a big piece of it too. All right, so we're split on that one as well. I'm going with Murphy. You're going with Santos. Next up, we have Muhammad Mukayev, and I'm going to butcher this, but Jafel Filo.
Yeah, you got the last name right. I don't know about the first name, but yeah,
All right, so Filo. I'll let you take this one first.
I'm on Makayev. But the only thing that worries me is he actually came out on Instagram and he showed himself in a sling saying I need shoulder surgery. Um, who knows how bad it is? Because I know between that usually you need what like 12 to 15 weeks to overall heal from a depends on your level of surgery you actually need. If it's like the Dillashaw level, then I'm scared to pick Makayev because Philo is no bum. Yes, he got fed to Makayev. Philo looked damn good on the contender series. But if this is gonna be a Makayev that depends on how he does takedown because he goes so many levels of takedowns where he can probably maybe try to stay away from that shoulder. to an extent. But
Makayev decided not to go with the surgery.
I know that's stupid. Because ideally, I hope that doesn't hurt him for the long term. Because look like Makayev's in a yes camp. No one's gonna say, "Yo, bro, if you need to take this surgery." Like, oh yes, 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 yes. I hope that doesn't bite him because 9,700 on DraftKings. I don't know if you're getting to him.
No, I won't have
I,
any shares of him.
I don't like trying to play people that high, but does he have the wrestling to win this? Absolutely. And I don't. I'm just gonna pick Makayev. I do worry about the shoulder because I hope it's not on the Dillashaw level. Because if it's on the Dillashaw level, I think he's screwed. But ideally, I still think he can use his different amount of takedowns, trips, and win this fight. And it'll be close because 9,700, you need like over 120 something points to actually pay that off.
Like 110, 115. So everything that I'm reading is he's not worried about it, but I guess I'll give my take on it real quick on the fight. I expect this to be a grappling match for as long as it lasts because that's what both of these guys do. Both of them are extremely well rounded on the mat. Both of them, I believe, both are black belts in BJJ.
Mm-hmm.
So I expect this to pretty much just primarily be on the back or on the mat. And the big reason I'm going with Mokaev is I think he's going to be the one that initiates anything to start with, especially with it being Filo's debut. It's hard to envision a spot where Makayev puts his shoulder in a spot that could cause him discomfort.
Mm-hmm.
Could put him in something like that. He could put him, in some kind of arm triangle and slash. But it's going to be so hard for him to put him in that spot because of the experience that Makayev has. And if Makayev comes out with no lack of confidence in his shoulder or anything like that, I think he probably submits him early. This is definitely a huge step up in competition for Filo, and he has been submitted once. He did look really good on the Contender Series, but he didn't. The guy that he fought, I wouldn't say is
caliber.
He's not the best in the world. So I mean, it's really tough. I'm all over Makayev, but it is really hard to trust his shoulder. But yeah, I mean, it's a fight that he should win. He came out and said that he won't have any excuses if he doesn't get his hands raised.
That also scares me when he says that shit, though. He's like, well, if I lose, I lose. But if I win, it's okay. But I didn't like to hear that.
But I don't think this is a fight that he loses. If it was somebody against somebody higher up in the ranks, then I'd probably be against him in this case. But both of us going with Muhammad Makayev against the debuting Filo. Next up is actually, if I go back on this fight, this is the fight that I had the most trouble picking.
The Patterson
with Patterson and Ashmo Mose, Sam Patterson, Ash Mose. And the reason I'll let I'm gonna let you take this one first because screw this fight.
I do want to agree with that, but I think Patterson sucks. He's a tall, lengthy string bean that pretty much his guard and his stance look like you're about to fight somebody in a high school bathroom. Just leaves it like boom.
Yet he's finished 9 out of 10 of his fights and he's only lost once.
Yeah. The last time I saw the level of competition was terrible though. Like absolute like poop water, terrible. I give the Ashmo. I kind of do like Ashmo. He's slightly more rounded. He kind of throws hard. He does have his own wrestling in BJJ. And people are saying, "Oh, Patterson won by second round submission," but before that even happened, he was getting pressured. He was getting touched up. Could Ashmo touch him up? Maybe if he closes the distance. I think he's gonna make it like a dirty boxing fight, touch up. But I think Ashmo could take him down. But the only thing that scares me with takedown, I don't think he's going.
I don't think he's going to though. I think this is going to be a striking match.
And if it's a striking match, I'm fading.
And if he does take him down, then you're going to run into the problem: is Patterson going to reverse it real quick because he's got good BJJ?
Yeah, that's the only thing that scares me. Like I want to pick Ashmo, but like I wish there's a chance that I wish we could just skip the fight as a whole because
I do too. I wish it wasn't on this card.
I think Patterson's a weak string bean, but
kick your ass.
He'd kick my ass. If I get on top of him, he's probably not moving. I'll pull the Roy Nelson on him, but
he'll put you in a reverse arm triangle.
Yeah, probably snap my shit. But I'm gonna go Ashmo. I'm going another dog.
Damn.
Like I said, I know this is the one fight that it kind of went back and forth on the most with, but I think
I
Osmo's going to use his well-rounded game, and I think he's going to pretty much try to control and not try to get in the guard. Because you're telling me if he gets in the guard, I'm scared because Patterson does have the long limbs and he can work something. But I think if Osmo can work the side mounts, maybe get on the mount, I think that's where he'll get his bread and butter and maybe win a decision or a late submission, maybe by arm choke or of a sort. But I'm going Osmo.
how are you gonna say late submission? Ashmo's never had. I watched some of his fights. He got his submissions where he had two rear nakeds back in 2017,
Yep.
and it was the first one was because he clamored to the back, and the second one I don't remember.
I
But
forget the second one, but I remember the first one.
anyway, so I I've got Patterson. So does 90% of the people on Tapology. So I'm with the people. You're not.
Nope.
Um,
Screw the
he
people.
part of the reason I've got Patterson is he's got a 10-inch reach advantage. I mean that's freaking huge. It's almost a foot.
But we'll
He
see if
could
he knows
hold
how
his
to use
arm
it.
out and hold his head there, and he could not get hit. So
We'll see if he knows how to use it.
yeah, well,
It was a contender series fight. He didn't know how to use it, and he got his shit clipped.
yeah, and he still managed to win. Either way, this fight should be an exciting fight. It's really hard to pick either one of them because there's so many unknowns and so many variables. If I will say that if Patterson wins this fight and he comes up against a striker in his next match that
He's getting knocked the hell
is
out.
accurate, he will likely get knocked out. So yeah, we're split again. I'm going with Sam Patterson. You're going with Yanal Ashmo.
Yep.
Next up, we got the debuting Chris Duncan against the short notice fight for Omar Morales. I am on Duncan. I am not a big fan of Omar Morales. I do not think he's all that great. He got knocked out by Uros Medic. He got submitted by Jonathan Pierce. Both of those guys are, Medic is a decent fighter. Pierce is an excellent fighter. He beat Shane Young. Shane Young isn't really anything. He lost to Giga Chikadze, which he's now a beast. It's really hard to go with Morales because of the short notice, and he hasn't really shown anything great, I guess you could say. Duncan did lose his first fight on the contender series, but that was to Borshev, who has now lost two in a row. But he did look promising for a time there. I mean, he lost two decisions. It's not like he got killed, but Duncan's got a really good variety of tools to use. He's very well rounded. He's got good power in his hands, and I think that he finds the mark in this one. Omar Morales' best chance is to get the takedown and look for the neck, but I don't think he's going to have much of a chance to get it there. Duncan's quick. He's got quick hands, and I think he only needs to land once to knock Morales out.
I may say this for one of my main predictions, but like I said, I'm on Duncan. He has insane power. People are gonna go back. Oh, but he gets touch up, he falls. But I'm like, look what happens. He bites down back on his mouthpiece and he comes back and swings. His
It reminds me
style.
of
Oh God, you're about to say it.
no, go ahead.
Trevor Peak.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Oh, that's awesome.
As soon as I was like, no, I was like, nope, I'm gonna save it for later. But then he said comparison. I'm like, don't you dare.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
He reminds me of Trevor Peak, man. Like,
Yep.
Like Trevor Peak except Duncan doesn't look like the Minecraft dummy, but ideally he comes in, okay, you're gonna hit me, I'm gonna come forward, boom, boom. But if he lands, he might. I'll say that for later. But yeah, the whole Trevor Peak shit. That's exactly what I wrote down on a piece of paper. Trevor Peak 101.
Yeah, and I told you Peak was going to win that fight, and he smashed him.
He scored the highest on the slate.
Yep, I told you. You
don't
want to listen.
What was it, like all the knockdowns and shit he had? Shit.
It was everything. He just completely just pummeled him. But yeah,
One thing I'll say about Gonzalez, he did show improvement, but
yeah.
He took him down at will with no problem. 4 or 5 takedowns?
Something like that.
But you're right though. But this, I think at 8,000, I know usually 82,000, 800,000 fight type card, but I'm definitely on Duncan. I think there's a good chance he could get the finish early in round 1.
Yep.
Especially if he lets his hands go. Morales is taking a short notice. Only chance he better get takedowns.
Oh, and he hasn't had a submission win since 2016, so I've got little to no faith in Morales.
I don't either.
And I guess the only thing he's got on his side is that it is Duncan's debut, and debuting fighters can have those jitters. So
And he is
we'll
Duncan
see.
is in his backyard.
But yeah, both of us going with the powerful Chris Duncan, and now we make our way to the last fight of the prelims. We got Jack Shore and Makwan Amirkhani. This is a I'm tired of Amirkhani fighting because the only thing that he does is takedown, 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 and I don't mind that style of fighting if you're going to do something with it. Um, and his problem in this fight is Jack Shore can do the same thing, but he can also strike. So I have no faith that Amirkhani can do anything unless he somehow snatches the neck of Shore. I mean, and that's how Shore lost his last fight. Although Ricky Simon is leagues better than Makwan. I just don't see it happening. I fully expect Shore to come out. And there's a bit of a trap on this one though, because if how much is Shore? He's 9,500. If Shore decides, okay, I'm not gonna do this takedown grappling game with you because I don't want to risk it, and he just decides to strike,
You're
this
not
can
paying
be a
it.
really low scoring fight. But Shore is definitely the pick to win, and I don't care for Makwan much as at all.
I don't either. And going back to that Shore's last fight, I believe he got clipped that led to the sub. But
Yeah,
I'm not worried about Makwan striking. He
no,
can't strike himself out of a wet paper bag. Um, does he have? As I said, I also wrote down next to him, round one or bust, because he's gonna try to get takedowns, he's gonna try to bully, he's gonna try to tire you. But like I said, he doesn't do nothing with it unless he gets the back. He doesn't do shit in round one except for takedown, takedown, takedown control. Then round two, as you said it earlier with the Murphy fight, Murphy gave him a good morning knee to the chin and put his ass right to bed.
yep.
But
It was
as you
immediate. It
said,
was at the beginning of the round too. He
yeah,
just went night night.
right beginning of round two and boom. But yeah, I'm on Shore. That is my worry at 9,500. If he doesn't, put in grappling, I don't see how he pays the 95 off. Or unless maybe he catches an early sub with Macron coming in, which is also possible. But if if Short, as you said, we'll see how he looks. Now he's just coming off his first loss. Is this gonna set him back potentially? I hope not, because I think he's a talented fighter. Um, but now I got Short winning 95,000. 95,000. It's kind of
100.
hard. Yeah, shut up. But yeah, it's kind of hard to get to like at the moment because I don't know how that fight's gonna go.
Yeah, it'll be really low owned for me, and I actually don't expect Shore to be owned much at all in general. So I mean, he is a way to get different, but you better hope that he does something early.
Mm-hmm.
So both of us going with Jack Shore onto the main card. We go first fight, Marvin Vittori and Roman Dolidze. I we were both torn on this. I don't know where you ended up settling, but I'll let you take it first.
So if anyone that knows, I've been on the overall Delize train since he's been in, and I haven't got off him. If anybody also knows, Vittori is actually one of my favorite fighters. I'm torn on it because it's two different clash of styles. If you're telling me Delize is going to try to prove a point and say I can strike with you 3 rounds, I think Vittori will point him out. I think Vittori will use the kicks, use his combinations, and circle. But if any point, I think if the lead day says, you know what, I'm putting you on your back, and if he gets a bear hug on him, he will put Vittori down, and that's because he's levels the overall wrestler and grappler that Vittori is. Does Vittori have some? Yes. Caliber of Delize? No. All depends on how Delize wants to come in this fight. If to me this is a dog or pass for DFS, because if Vittori wins, I don't see Vittori actually putting up a high score. I think maybe he'll get a decision win if he does win, maybe touching him up. Delege does his gas is questionable at times. So maybe after the 1.5 round mark, which if there's an over 1.5, I'm gonna play that over 1.5. But all depends on how Delege cardio looks. If he shows up, like people say, yes, he beat Jack Manson. I think Jack Manson's overrated. That's just me. I get a lot of hate for saying that. I think Jack Manson's overrated. But none against Deleze. Deleze was a dog in that fight also. But yeah, my current pick, I'm gonna be on Vittori. I'm not playing him on any type of DFS. I do have Deleze in my underdog pool because, like I said, if it is a finish, it's gonna come from Deleze. But I think this fight's gonna play close.
That's fair. I can't argue with it. I am the opposite though. I am on the lead side. I stuck with it. That's who I wanted when it was announced, and I'm sticking with it. Yeah, if there's a finish in this fight, it's likely from him. Vittori has never lost by finish, and that does
Hmm.
worry me. But he has also taken a shit ton of damage, um, and I mean a lot. He had back-to-back fights with Adesanya, Costa, and Whitaker, and that's a lot of damage. He took
Oh yeah.
160 strikes from Paulo Costa. That's not easy to bear. Then he came out and he lost to Whitaker, and as much as it sucks to say, I think that fight might change Vittori a little bit. Almost makes him look kind of like a gatekeeper, much like Whitaker is himself. So Vittori might be the gatekeeper to top five, while Whitaker is the top, is the gatekeeper to the number one spot. Um, Delidze, I think he's more well rounded. I really do. He's got the only thing that he doesn't have is volume, but I would assume that his corner is going to be like, look, Vittori is piecing you up with a ton of volume. You either knock his ass out or you take him to the ground.
Hmm.
He's got a really good team, and I mean a really good team. Um, and I'm sure his wife or his wife,
Girlfriend.
his girlfriend will be there, and she's good and smart herself. So
She finally
he's
went to
got
a
a lot.
win.
I said, I don't think that the Delize train stops here. I really don't. I mean, we could see him very challenging for the belt really soon. He's really impressive. He's won his last three fights by knockout, and they were brutal. So he's got all the power. He's got the makings. He's got the grappling. He's got the scrambling. He's got everything going for him but volume. So I'm on Delize.
That fight was hard, but like I said, it's as I said, dog or pass or DFS.
No.
I'm not putting any type of bet money on it, but
So we're split again. Marvin Vittori for you, Roman Delize for me. Next up, we got the ageless Jennifer Maya and Casey O'Neill. King Casey is finally back after her torn ACL
yep.
knee injury. Um, I'm glad she's back, man. She's exciting. She's a fun fighter to watch. She's ruthless. She's vehement. I mean, she just pushes and pushes and pushes and pushes, and she doesn't stop. So I love Casey in this fight at 8,500. She's almost a steal. I don't. I think they walk into this fight, and Jennifer Maya doesn't know what to do. Maya's not hard. Not. I don't think Maya's ever been finished actually.
I don't. Let me
Oh no,
see.
she was finished twice.
I
But I
think one
mean,
fight she did.
Man and Fioro wasn't even able to finish her. Fioro is just a monster.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Valentina Shevchenko wasn't able to finish her. Uh, so yeah, I mean, she has survived a lot. I don't think she survives this one. I really don't. I'm not saying that King Casey can come out and knock out Shevchenko or knock out Grasso, but I do think that she can knock out or submit Maya. She has all the tools in this one. She's leagues better everywhere. So all she has to do is apply the pace, and we've seen her jump on top of the back and literally choke somebody out. We've seen her knock somebody out. She's excellent. So I'm on King Casey, and I think she scores really well at 8,500.
One thing I'll say, I'm glad O'Neal had to fight with Roxanne before this fight because I think ideally Maya is a slightly harder Modafferi. Maya hits harder. Maya does come forward. She has decent BJJ, decent wrestling. She's well rounded in her own right mind. O'Neal, I think she'll definitely win the volume exchanges. I think Maya has more power because Maya holds that hand back and swings it. Does it always hit? No, but she does have more power in this fight. But I do love the overall improvements of Casey O'Neill. When she first came in, I was like, oh, she's a karate type striker. Yeah, bouncy, good Muay Thai. And then when she jumped the back and put the girl to sleep, the way she did that was scary.
It
She's
was.
improving in her wrestling quickly. That's one thing I always try to look for. Like, if I see a very good improving fighter that young, taking major steps as quick as she is, I will usually never go against them. I'm also on O'Neal. I do love that 8,500. I'm trying to work it around so I can definitely get to it, but she might be one of the. Nah, I'll say that for a bold maybe. But yeah, I think ideally she 8,500. She can win a volume based decision. She scores well in decisions. You clearly see that. That girl never stops throwing.
No, she doesn't. I mean, she hit Montefiore with 230 strikes in a 15-minute bout.
Yeah,
So
and I don't know how that was. I don't know why one judge gave it a
why it
split.
was a split? Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
one
not
judge
even
gave Roxanne round one, which I don't understand. Like
make
the end of
no
the fight,
sense.
Roxanne did get a takedown, but by that time the fight was already over. O'Neal pretty much emptied her gas tank on her, and she got caught with a simple takedown. But I think she's gonna absolutely piece up Maya.
Yep, absolutely. Both of us in agreement. Both of us going with King Casey O'Neill. Can't wait to see her back in the octagon this weekend. Next up, we got Gunnar Nelson and Brian Barberena. Um, yeah, I'll go first again on this one. I don't have a whole lot to say about that, and that's why I'll do that.
Mm-hmm.
Barberena is a dog. He's another guy that will fight for your money in every fight. Unfortunately, in this one, I think he just gets taken down and submitted. There's just nothing else to it. Gunnar Nelson, his last fight because he had come back.
Kashi Sato.
I was leery about him. I'm pretty sure I went Sato because I didn't know where Nelson's head would be, and he completely proved me wrong. He took him down and held him down and just murdered him. So I think it's going to be very similar in this fight. He either finds a submission or he just controls him for at least 10 minutes. And either way, Gunnar Nelson should score really well and win this fight.
He's actually one of my favorite plays at 9,200. I'm hoping he's not high owned. The only thing I feel bad about, because I do like Barberena as a fighter, but he's also took his fight on short notice. Also, I wish you just give him fights like the Robbie Law or striker versus striker where he does have a chance. Like I'll say right now, if he stops early takedowns, if he brings pressure to Nelson, Nelson's been knocked out by Sabat. What's his name? Who's the dude? Pablo. You know what I'm talking
Oh,
about?
Ponzinibbio?
Yeah, he got
Ponzi?
knocked out by Ponzi because Ponzi stopped the takedown. He let his hand go. Barberena is like I said, he's a dog. He'll fight for your money. He's if you're playing 150 lineups, you want to put a lineup with Barberena, okay. If he stops takedowns, I think he can knock out Gunner. But I think Gunner is gonna do what he does. He's gonna throw some kicks. He's gonna wait for Barberena to overextend, and he's gonna shoot his takedown.
I don't even think he's going to have to do that. I mean, RDA took him down 4 times. Matt Brown took him 5 times. Weeks took him 4 times. Jason Witt took him 8 times. There's just no chance. Barberena does not have good takedown defense.
No. Ideally, I said I want Nelson to get a finish, but if he does that same repeat for 3 rounds, it wouldn't shock me if Nelson got like 5, maybe 6 takedowns.
Yep.
I'll probably max out at 5 because Barberena doesn't really try to get up. He tries to just show on his back and just accept getting controlled. But yeah, I'm all over Nelson.
All righty. Both of us going with Gunnar Nelson. Next up, we have the co-main event with Justin Gaethje and Rafael Fiziev. This is likely going to be your fight of the night, potentially fight of the year, as Justin Gaethje just is ridiculous, and all of his fights are that way. I am going to let you take this one first.
I wish I didn't have. All I'm gonna say is I wish I didn't have to pick a side. I'll say right
But
now, if you're telling me if the main event dropped, which I hope it doesn't, if you're telling me the main event dropped, I'd still watch pay per view just for this fight, and I would hope they move to 5 rounds because that
they
would be
would.
like the wettest dream if they told me that this is a 5 round fight now. I'll
You'd
eat
have to
that.
send them both home in stretchers.
That like I said, this could be arguably one of the fights of the year if it goes how we are thinking it's gonna go.
All right, pick your damn side.
I know. To me, I think Gaethje's one
Stick
of the
with your.
gatekeepers. I think he is if Fiziev wants to get a title shot, I think he needs to finish Gaethje. Honestly, even with a win is going to be impressive. Okay, you beat a guy within the top tier, but Fiziev, his striking is on so many different levels. The only worry I worry about is he might outclass Gaethje in the pure striking. I think Gaethje's going to come in wild, and Fiziev's like, all right, boom, boom, hit him with easy straights. I don't know about the knockout because the knockout it comes late sometimes, but I'm on Fiziev, and it hurts me because I've watched Gaethje fight live, and Gaethje's a wild man. I wish Gaethje would use his wrestling, but he's not going to do it.
Hey, you're with let's see, 74% of people on Tapology. I am the opposite. I am on Justin Gaethje. And there's a few reasons. Faisiev, he has not fought arguably the best competition yet. He beat RDA, who is aging and old. He did knock out Brad Riddell. I'll give him that, but Riddell's not that great of a fighter anymore. Bobby Green, it's always a good classic striking match, but he arguably lost that fight.
Mm-hmm.
Renato Moicano is a grappler. Mark Jacasey is a wrestler, and Alex White. So you go from his, and then you go to Justin Gaethje, who lost to Oliveira. He beat Michael Chandler. He lost to Khabib. He beat Ferguson, Cerrone, Barbosa. The list goes on. Gaethje has faced a lot better guys, and there's no doubt about it. You can call him a gatekeeper. You can call him whatever you want to call him. He did have the belt at one time until Nurmagomedov took it. But the way that I see this going is Gaethje is not afraid to get hit. We saw it in the Chandler fight. He was bloody. Chandler was bloody. They just kept going at it. And I expect this fight to be the same way, except I don't think Faisiev is ready for what is in store. He has not had an attack like this. He's not had somebody come in his face. He has not had somebody throw 100 strikes in 15 minutes. He hasn't had any of that. He hasn't had the power. He hasn't had the volume. So I'm all over Gaethje. I love him in this fight. And could he stun him? Absolutely. Charles Oliveira stunned him, but Michael Chandler couldn't put him out. It's one of those fights where, yeah, both guys are extremely good strikers. Faisiev is really technical. He's got great kicks. There actually, now that I think about it, there's another worry that I have with Faisiev. If Gaethje and his corner say attack that lead leg, this fight's over in the third round. He's going to get knocked out because Faisiev fights with that foot forward.
Yep.
And if they take it out, he's got no movement. He's done.
But the one thing I'll say about this fight, to me, it is dog or pass on DFS though. If this was 5 rounds, I would consider Faisiev, especially if he got the win. But I know he started a little slow against RDA because most time he was defending takedowns, throwing barely any type of volume. But once he got into the rhythm and stop, that's when he really let his hands go. But I think Faisiv's going to be more precise. He's going to try to look for in and outs. He's going to wait for try to get Gaethje to get wild. But as you said, if Gaethje touched that lead leg, it wouldn't shock me if Gaethje maybe got a late round 3 finish. But to me, this is a dog or pass on DFS. I will agree with that. But
you talk about him being Faisiev in his movement, and if you tell me that his movement was better than Tony Ferguson's back in 2020, because Ferguson wasn't dropping yet then, and Gaethje still outstruck him in that fight. So that was his title fight. That's what got him the belt. He beat T. Ferguson in that fight, and so for me, all the stars align for Gaethje. I think Gaethje should be the favorite in this fight, and I think they're disrespecting him, and I think he is fully aware of that. Faisiev is a great fighter. Don't get me wrong. If he wins this fight, I'm not surprised by any means, but I think Gaethje deserves to be the favorite, and I think he does win this fight.
I don't hate it.
So we are split again. I'm going with Justin Gaethje. You're going with Rafael Faisiev. Next up, we have the main event, the trilogy. Leon Edwards, Kamaru Usman. Usman should have never lost that last fight. He let his guard down for 2 seconds and then got kicked at the very last round with like 30 seconds left. It was horrible. It ruined a lot of people's lines, including mine.
Mm-hmm. No, I had Edwards. In that fight.
Yeah, well,
at least my DFS line.
But we talked about this one a little bit. I'm on Usman. I don't know where you decided to stick, but for me, a lot of people are talking about Usman's mentality and whether or not he's going to be the same. And I read everything that I possibly could that was out from him, his coaches, the trainers, the other fighters. Everything says that Usman is still perfectly fine. His head's in the right mindset. He's got the right game plan. And if he follows his game plan, this fight's going to be, well, relatively simple because he pieced him up on rounds 2, 3, and 4 after Edwards decided to win round 1. And he was cruising to a win in round 5 until he let his guard down and ate a kick that he should have never eaten. Usman is still the better striker. He's still the better wrestler. He's better everywhere. If he comes out and it's still Kamaru Usman, it's the Kamaru Usman we saw defend however many fights and get to get his belt, this fight's done and over with. If he comes out and he is scared of anything, well, Edwards can probably piece him up, but I'm sticking with my guns. I'm going with Kamaru Usman. I think he's going to look normal. I think he wants his belt back. He's not ready to be done. And, this isn't a Khabib situation. This is Usman. He wants to fight and he wants his belt. So he's getting it back.
I'm also on Usman. Um, One thing I'll say, you'll never see Usman under 9K again. Um, unless he gets some kind of other big time fight, maybe like with a Kobe fight or a Chimaev fight or a Rakhimov fight. That's the only way you'll see him under 9K again.
Rachmanov's coming for that belt.
I'm not gonna disagree with that. Um, yeah, I'm on Usman. Usman, he has his own volume. I think he's gonna put Edwards on a takedown city poster. He's gonna work with the hands, and then I think he at least gets like 4 to 5 takedowns. Because I get Edwards. Edwards can get up and get up games pretty fine, but like I said, I watched both fights. First fight, Usman dominated. Second fight, besides the first round, Usman dominated. And as you said, under a minute left, he threw that Hail Mary out of damn outfield and landed. I mean, all it takes is one shot. The only thing I'll say is unless Usman doesn't keep this, if Usman keeps it close, I don't trust the judges. I'll say that right now. Backyard, Edwards, I don't trust judges for shit. We've seen terrible judges. I don't trust judges for shit.
I don't trust him at all for any fight.
No. So I think Usman's going to have to absolutely steamroll him for all five or potentially get a late finish. Because think about it. He beat Kobe, got Kobe out by finish. The first fight, cracked him in the jaw piece. Second fight with Masvidal, he knocked Masvidal the fuck out.
I called that one.
Yes, you did, and it helped me win some money in my pocket. Would it shock me if he maybe gets a TKO with Sorton Edwards? No. Could he do it? Yes.
Mm-hmm. He's gonna be pissed, man.
I think he's gonna come back with a madman.
Yeah, I do too.
And we're just talking about, Usman's like, what were you doing before you won? Oh, but my shin hit your chin. I'm like, well, what else were you doing?
That's all I keep saying is that kick. And there was a bunch of videos and shit going around saying that that's all. Well, it's not all, but Edwards has been practicing that over and over. If you think Usman's going to walk back into it, you're out of your mind.
And I'll put any amount of money if he tries to do that same kick early. Usman is catching that leg and taking him the fuck down.
Absolutely.
And it's not even close. I think Usman either wins like a 50-46. I think he'll absolutely steamroll him, or probably my guess, maybe sometime after round 3. I think Edwards all his confidence is gonna be gone, and it wouldn't shock me of sometime after round 3, Usman gets a finish. It won't be. I don't think about my sub. I think it'd be a TKO on the ground.
I wouldn't even be surprised if we saw a first round knockout.
Oh, I would love that so much. But I want him to take that fight farther. I want him to stack up the points.
That's fair.
Yeah.
So taking a look at the RotoWire staff picks, everybody has Usman. Me and one other guy out of 8 are on Gaethje. Majority of us, only one person is Barberena. Everybody is on O'Neal, and Dolidze and Vettori are split.
That was one of the hardest fights for me to pick from because I couldn't even use my head or heart on that one. That was just pure heart fight.
So you look at the odds, and my favorite bet for this card is just Casey O'Neal's money line. She's only a minus 175 in this fight.
I'm probably gonna drop like 2 units on that.
He should be minus like 300.
Probably after we get done, I'm probably gonna drop like 2 units.
I wouldn't blame you. I mean, if I was you, I'd probably parlay it with Nelson.
Dude, I have so many other fights I could parlay that with that I feel confident with. She's my favorite parlay piece to build with. And usually I don't like parlaying women, but I could always parlay her with Miller. I could do all kinds of shit. Well, I may look at the Miller finish prop before that comes out, but
yeah. So, like I said, our last week was not a good week, but as in all type of betting and DFS and whatever else, things can be random. Shit happens. It's a bad week. We'll get right back on top of it. There's a lot of good fights coming up that are scheduled as well. I see that my other girl, Polyana Viana, is scheduled to take Emily Ducati. I can't wait for that. She's going to submit the shit out of her. Ducati's a striker. She's going to be done real fast in that fight. But what do you got? I mean, give me a hot take. Give me your favorite play. What do you got?
Okay, let me look. Yeah. I have so many, but I'm gonna pick one. No, I don't want to say that. Uh, I think Juliana. I can make it simple. First fight. I think Juliana Mantle by sub, but that's kind of easy-ish, I'd guess maybe. But because I have so many I could pick from, but
I know there's a bunch. I like a lot of these ones. You know, if man,
I do got one more. But that's like a if I get this right, that's like a holy shit.
yeah,
Santos by sub over Murphy. There's no
that's
odds
definitely
out for that yet, for at least on my books. But
my guess is that will be like plus 1,000.
hey, I'll put like a quarter of a unit on it.
Yeah, I like Chris Duncan round one TKO.
That's what I was thinking. I was gonna say maybe the whole Trevor Peak thing, knock him down a couple times and just absolutely steamrolls him. But yeah, that wouldn't shock me.
I'd like to point out that Arizona just lost.
Wait, what? Oh my
So
god!
that's one of my brackets that is now completely busted. So thank you, Arizona.
I think I had. Oh my! I had Arizona.
That's two seeds already out.
Who was the first one?
Or no, sorry, it's a 4 seed. Sorry, Virginia.
Oh yeah, they lost off the most ridiculous bullshit. But
Dude, that was the stupidest thing ever. They're so
so
dumb. Well, that yeah, good for them, I guess. Arizona just screwed me. Thanks.
oh yeah, I had him going far, man.
Yeah, this fight should be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully, it should be a better one than last week's. Hey, you and I, we have, I think, four. Let's see, one, two, three. Yeah, we got two, four, five different fights. So could be some disparity in our record after this. I mean, I'm back up, so
What about like one fight, two fights?
one or two, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, man. I can't wait for the fight. I know you and I will be back and forth on a lot of things coming up. So until then, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. We always appreciate it.